Good morning. I'm calling this meeting to order at 10:03 a.m. I'm David Doe, Commissioner and Chair of the TLC, and I'm joined today by Commissioner Bader, Commissioner Chan, Sorrentino, Commissioners Mitchell, Velasquez, and Bierstein. A brief notice before we start. Both current and former drivers have less than a week left to file a claim with the New York Attorney General's 2023 settlement with Uber and Lyft, which were charged with failing to pass surcharges and sales taxes to passengers and instead charging drivers. Specifically, if you work for Uber anytime between November 10th, 2014 to May 22nd, 2017, or with Lyft anytime between October 11th, 2015 and July 31st, 2017, you may be eligible to receive money. March 31st is the last day drivers can make a claim. If you need help filing a claim against Uber, you should contact Russ Consulting at 1-800-625-2332. That's 1-800-625-2332. For claims against Lyft, the number is 1-800-433-5314. Again, that's 1-800-433-5314. The New York Taxi Workers Alliance is also offering help filing claims at their offices in Long Island City this week from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. until Friday. Their number is 718-706-9892, and their office is located at 31-10 37th Avenue, Suite 300 in Long Island City. Now on to our rulemaking for today. Today, we vote on 3 rule proposals. The first implements our accessible e-hail program, which streamlines how passengers request trips for wheelchair-accessible taxis. Licensed e-hail application providers already provide wheelchair-accessible vehicle option in their apps. With the increase in those providers and the increase in the taxi cab and SHL waves, a separate vendor to operate the accessible dispatch program is no longer necessary. That program is scheduled to run through February 2026 and conclude shortly thereafter. While customers can already request a wheelchair-accessible vehicle from the e-hail application provider of their choice, this rule package ensures that customers can also request a wheelchair-accessible vehicle from the apps via telephone call. It also includes new penalties for failure to comply with the new e-hail application requirements. Following the public hearing, the rule was revised in response to the public comments. These revisions include establishing more stringent service standards for the dedicated call center that customers can use to request an accessible e-hail trip by phone. This change was made in response to requests from the disability advocate community, including the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities. The revisions also removed the deletion from the TLC rulebook of references to the accessible dispatch provider and restores Chapter 53 to the TLC rulebook, which governs the obligation of the accessible dispatch provider. These changes were made after TLC determined that an overlap period would be necessary in which both accessible dispatch provider and the updated accessible e-hail requirements would be in place. That need became clear from public comments on January 22nd hearing of this year. Lastly, the revisions clarify the data screening obligations of the technology service providers only extend to data that is first supplied by TLC. This revision was made at the request of technology service providers Curve and Creative Mobile Technologies. Our second proposal changes how the Taxi Improvement Fund, or TIF, is administered. We are increasing the grant payment for accessible vehicle hackups from $14,000 to $20,000. TLC's current payment plan of $1 for every trip that a driver of an accessible taxi cab completes will be eliminated. In its place, the TLC will pay a $10 bonus for every trip that a driver completes that was initiated via a call center that is run by an approved e-hail application provider. Based upon the public comments received by multiple taxi industry groups and organizations at the January 9th hearing of this year, the TLC has revised the proposed rule in the following ways. As we stated, the proposed hackup bonus payment amount is now $20,000 with another $10,000 going to operational payments. We removed the 5-year service requirement for each wheelchair-accessible vehicle that receives a grant payment, and the associated clawback provisions were also removed. We also removed the 7-year eligibility requirement to medallion owners, meaning they're no longer required to wait 7 years before being eligible for another TIF grant. These rules also now include a grandfather clause, meaning that if a medallion owner already received a hack-up payment of $14,000 within the last 4 years, the owner would continue to enjoy operational payments levels associated with that smaller initial hack-up amount until the total hack-up operation payments equal $30,000, whichever comes first. Our third proposal implements changes to state law following the enactment of the COVID-19 Livery Recovery Act. The Act permits the owners of certain vehicles formerly licensed by TLC as for-hire vehicles to renew their license under certain conditions. For 1 year, TLC must accept applications for the renewal of for-hire vehicle licenses that expired roughly from the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, that is, between March 7th, 2020 and September 12th, 2022, and which were affiliated with livery bases at the time of expiration. These new licenses may not transfer affiliation to a high-volume for-hire service. Pursuant to the Act, TLC must provide qualifying vehicle owners with the option to renew their expired for-hire vehicle license with the same license restrictions that applied at the time of expiration. For example, a vehicle license that was restricted to an electric vehicle may only renew as an electric vehicle, and a license restricted to a wheelchair-accessible vehicle may only renew as a wheelchair-accessible vehicle. Following the public hearing, the TLC made one change to the rules. Instead of the May 1st implementation date, if the commissioners adopt a waiver of the 30-day promulgation period, TLC will be able to accept applications beginning April 15th. More information will be on our website in the coming days. I will now hand it over to General Counsel Cheryl Ludo to take us through our agenda.
Good morning. Commissioners, the first item before you are the minutes for the January 29th, 2025 Commission meeting. I will now call a vote to adopt those minutes. All in favor of adopting the minutes from January 29th, please raise your hands. Great. The minutes are adopted unanimously. I will now call on our new Assistant Commissioner for Licensing, Parmjit Singh, to present the base license applications. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Parmjit Singh. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Licensing, and 10 bases have been submitted for review, and we await your approval.
Commissioners, can we have a vote on adopting the base license recommendations? All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. The motion's adopted unanimously.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we will now turn to item 5A on the agenda, the accessible e-hail rule package. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on December 20th, 2024 for public comment. A public hearing was held by the TLC. Are you raising your hand or stretching? Okay. Okay. A public hearing was held by the TLC on January 22nd, 2025. On March 21st, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website and circulated to the commissioners, along with the hearing transcript and all written comments that were received. So before I ask for a vote, Commissioner Bader?
Yes. Yeah, here we go. Thank you. We sit up here, and there isn't much discussion about a lot of these issues. But that doesn't mean, and it is not at all reflective of all the work that has gone into coming up with these final proposals. This e-hail change specifically really represents how government should work. We had a public hearing in which there were many people who spoke on all sides of this issue. There were a lot of individual and follow-up conversations and submitted written testimony relative to this issue as well. There are many staff people who work for the commission who did an incredible amount of work to come up with a viable proposal that addressed all the issues and specifically the most concerns of the impacted disability community. This is a growing community in many places, including the city of New York. there is more and more traffic, and it is becoming more and more difficult many times for these people to access services. So the commission inclusively wanted to make sure that whatever we did would only improve the accessibility for taxis for the disability community. And there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of very intensive work went into coming up with this proposal, which we expect and hope, and based on feedback from the impacted communities, will be beneficial to the community. And I just want to thank all of the staff people who worked on this, and I want to really acknowledge that was incredible input from the advocates for this program. So there's not discussion here, but that does not at all imply or reflect all the amount of really terrific work that was done and input to come up with this proposal that we think in the end will benefit the city of New York in a variety of ways, and a community which really deserves to be listened to and acknowledged. So I want to thank everybody who was involved, and it is my pleasure and my honor to vote in favor of these new proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else? All right. We can go to the
All right.
vote.
Great, Commissioner. So let's move for a vote. I know how you're voting, Commissioner Bader. All those in favor of adopting the rule, please raise your hand. Wonderful. The rule passes unanimously. Commissioners, we now turn to item 5B on the agenda, the rule proposal to increase the upfront taxi improvement fund payments to taxi owners. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on December 10th, 2024 for public comment. A public hearing was held by the TLC on January 9th, and on March 21st, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website and circulated to the commissioners. Commissioners, may we move for a vote, or did anyone wish to speak? Okay, so please raise your hand if you're voting in favor. And the proposal passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we now turn to item 5C, the rule proposal implementing the COVID-19 Livery Vehicle Recovery Act. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on February 7th. The public hearing was held on March 12th, and on March 21st, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website and circulated to the commissioners, along with the hearing transcript and all written comments that were received. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, thank you. We have one more item, item 5D. It's a finding of a substantial need for earlier implementation of the rule you just adopted, the COVID-19 Livery Vehicle Recovery Act. TLC supports the recovery and growth of the livery industry to pre-COVID-19 levels as quickly as possible, and we want to waive the 30-day implementation period after the rule's promulgation. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And the waiver passes unanimously. Commissioner Doe, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Cheryl. And one last thing before we close. On the COVID-19 Recovery Act, a lot of you, especially in the livery sector, is going to have questions about the implementation of it. In the coming days, our website will have more information about how to get those licenses if you qualify, and how and who qualifies. It is spelled out not only in state legislation, but also in TLC rules and regulations. So I ask all of you be patient, as I know that you are anxious to apply for those licenses when they become available. But in the meantime, if you have questions, please email licensinginquiries@tlc.nyc.gov. Again, that's licensinginquiries@tlc.nyc.gov. And with that, the time is now 10:17, and I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.